I finished Dragon Age Veilguard today, which is a game I got free this month for PlayStation Plus Essential, as opposed to spending 70 quid for it back in October. I had originally planned on picking it up when it went down on sale, so I was very pleased to get it included with a subscription. And I'm very glad I didn't spend any money on it because it's merely okay to good occasionally. It took a long time to get out of the doldrums of just being a mediocre 5 out of 10 kind of game, and all the way up to a whole 6 out of 10 kind of game, I'd say, at the end of it. Mostly buoyed by some decent loyalty missions and a strong end. It doesn't really feel like a Dragon Age game. Like, it feels like they wanted to make a kind of God of War style game. It's got that kind of Dark Souls style map design, Metroidvania, with lots of loot packs and shortcuts and things to find. The loot system is absolutely dreadful. You have to get upgrades by finding stuff in chests, and there's a lot of really random, really bad loot. The combat system really isn't great. I've fast traveled to somewhere you open up and about halfway through the game because it's a little combat arena, so I can jump in and show you. The game is more complicated than it really needs to be. Like there's a very word salad problem of there being a lot of different stats and abilities and things you can do in combat, and you really don't
Hey,
need to
sweet
bother
thing.
with a lot of them.
What are you in the mood for?
Fighting.
Get yourself in order and head to the entrance.
So when you first start out, you don't really have an awful lot of
They'll
options
be
in
on you.
combat. I'm gonna quickly pause here while we do to talk about it. Like, there's a couple of things you can do to set up combos, which feel like the combos from Mass Effect, where you'd be, setting people on fire and overloading them or whatever to blow up their shields and cause a little explosion. It feels very much like Mass Effect 2 and 3's combo system that way. So, like for instance, if
Faster
I
than ticks on a blood mage. Get ready for the Venatori.
if we set up a combo on this guy, I might have to just turn the music down a little bit because it's quite loud. I should have done this before doing the review, but hey, this just shows how professional I am and why I don't do reviews that often. So you can set up combos by doing things like this that deals high stagger and applies sundered. And in this attack, detonates sundered. So then this person is going to explode in a very pretty explosion that would do a bunch of combo damage and also buffs your character, yada yada yada. There's a combo and counter system where people will go yellow when you can counter them, and they'll go red if you can't. Now, this caused me a lot of problems throughout the game because there were often attacks where I thought I could counter them, but they were actually red and I couldn't. But it doesn't take that long to learn the attack patterns of enemies because there's only about 7 or 8 different kinds of enemies for the most of the game. Like you fight a lot of the same Darkspawn and a lot of the same Venatori throughout most of the game. Like these guys are executioners, so you can't uh, you can't hit them with regular attacks. You have to hold the button down to attack them because otherwise they just block you. That's fun. But yeah, there's just too many different things to try and pay attention to. Like I've got necrotic weapons going at the moment, which means my attacks will poison people. There's also bleeding and burning and poison, and there is chilled and shocked and jolted, and there's overwhelmed, there's sundered. There's like 17 different things you can apply to enemies, and honestly, barely any of them really mean anything. And then, of course, there's all different things you can do for yourself. Like if I hit people enough times in a row without taking hits, I get adrenaline. And if I counterattack people at the right time, I get necrotic weapons. And you can get resistant and immovable. And it's just too many different things, a lot of which don't matter. And enemies have different kinds of health bars. So blue ones you get by hitting with R2, yellow ones you get by holding down triangle, and then red ones you can just hit them with. So cool. And there's a rune system, and there's all these different kind of gears you can equip, and it's just it's trying to be incredibly deep and complex, and it really isn't. When for the most of the game you can just kind of mash the buttons and get through it, and that's on the default difficulty, as opposed to like maybe you got to pay more attention to that stuff in the higher difficulties, but I
Spectacular.
suspect you
We
probably
felt the
don't.
blood spray from way over here.
I found a unique sword very early on in the game that I couldn't upgrade because it meant every single hit feels bleeding. and then I just literally hit bosses and bleed them to death by just standing back and waiting for them to die because they just bleed out. They would often cause problems, cutscenes or like different waves of a boss where like they'd fly off to a different area because sometimes you fight dragons in our Dragon Age game. Who knew? And it would just keep taking damage when you're supposed to be invincible, and then they'd end up being half dead by the time back to me. So combat is really, really boring, and there's a lot of it. There's also a lot of upgrade systems, and there's a lot of things about finding materials and trading with people, and there's just more systems than there really needs to be, and it makes it more complicated than it needs to be for no benefits. So I recommend just ignoring most of them, unless of course you're going for the platinum, in which case you have to pay attention to. Like there's a whole bunch system of valuables you can find and resources, and you can sell things to different people for different amounts of power, but none of it's interesting. None of it's fun. Like the actual main story is fine. I'm trying to avoid going to the quest screen to avoid spoiling anything because the save game's about 2/3 of the way through it. Like it's fine. The characters who accompany your journey are well written. Their loyalty missions are good. There's some fun decisions to make in those based around their backstories. And like I say, the main story resolution is good, even if it takes a long time to actually get going. It felt like there was at least 6 different occasions in the game where the game was like, "Hey, maybe if you helped your companions earn their loyalty, they would be better in combat or more useful for the fights ahead." I was like, "Yeah, I'm talking to them every chance I can. You just need to actually give me the loyalty missions for me to do them, and I'll do them." So yeah, I'm glad I didn't spend money on it. I managed to platinum game in about 60 hours, which is pretty much what I spent my week off from doing there. And I'm looking forward to moving on to the next more exciting and better game, which might be Jedi Survivor next, I think. But yeah, like if you've got PlayStation Plus Essential and you can claim Dragon Age Veilguard, and you're looking for something to eat some time but not be a great time, it's fine. Like it's passable. I've played a lot worse games, and the ending and the final missions and stuff like that are quite fun if you have the patience to get there. But I can't recommend spending money on it. Like it's probably going to be an EA play by the time that this video goes out anyway, or once it stops being in Plus Essential in like 2 weeks' time. I'm sure it'll be in Game Pass soon enough too. If you can play it for free and you enjoy the old Dragon Age games, there's some interesting story beats that can actually make me want to go back and play Dragon Age Origins more than anything else. But for some reason, that's not on PS5s these days. But I really can't recommend it over like more fun games that you could play this year, like Monster Hunter Wilds, for instance, is a more enjoyable game. Or even just go back to play more Helldivers, which is probably what I'm going to do when I finish this video. Um, yeah. So yeah, I can't really recommend buying it, but it's fine if you get it for free, which is a damning indictment in minutes itself, isn't it? Anyway, thanks for watching. If you watched me ramble on this long, see you next time.